Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the House of Steel. We're thrilled to have you, and I'm very excited as always when we do the Can We Talk broadcast to be joined by my good friend and brother, Khal Onyx.
Hey, everybody.
Coming to you live from the Bronx. I hope everybody's having a wonderful holiday season. Today, I'm going to ask everyone to bear with me a little bit because today is a day where I am handling the producer responsibilities in addition to co-hosting. And so I'm going to do my best to keep things rolling. Please, if you're seeing any difficulties, drop it in the chat so that I can address it. But hopefully everything will go well and we won't have any issues. If you do see me looking to the side, it is because I am trying to figure out, make sure everything is going well on all of the venues where we're streaming. Thank you for watching, whether you're watching us on our YouTube channel or from our Facebook page or on my Facebook page.
And if you see me looking to the side, I'm probably checking out the Bills game.
And apologies for that double audio. I am not yet used to monitoring the channels at the same time as I'm monitoring this. If you have any thoughts or comments or questions you want to drop in the chat, please drop it in the chat. I will be keeping an eye on the chat. And as usual, we will address the questions at the end of the conversation. And today's conversation is all about leather. We're going to talk about earned leather versus claimed leather. And claimed leather would be leather that you purchase for yourself. And we're going to talk a little bit about leather and what it means to us. And hopefully it will help illuminate, give you some different perspectives on leather and deepen your love for it. So to start, Khal, it is the holiday season. It's a wonderful, the most wonderful time of the year, they say. Even though for me that would be Halloween. But at this time of year, what's your favorite holiday song? What's the song that gets you in the mood to start wrapping gifts, go caroling, roast chestnuts on an open fire?
That would be it by Nat King Cole.
That's a beautiful song. I love that song. I actually think, everybody talks about the Christmas song by Nat King Cole, like that's his biggest Christmas hit. But I actually think that Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire is the best by him.
And, it's a perfect song for you, with the kicks you have.
I know, right? Fireplay and CBT. I love it. Also, don't mind nuts resting on my chest. So it all works here. But my favorite holiday song, like just individual song, I would say is This Christmas by Donny Hathaway. I love that song.
Okay.
But the music that makes me feel like now we're in the season is the Charlie Brown Christmas album by the Vince Guaraldi Trio. I just think that album, like when I put it on as I'm decorating or sitting by the tree, that just makes me want to run out and buy gifts and, have all the fun. What about traditions? What's your favorite holiday tradition? And this could be something going back to when you were a kid that you used to do, as you were growing up, something you established as you became an adult, or maybe something with your own daughter or with your boy.
So it's basically the same no matter who you talk about or what area you talk about. Me as a boy, me as a parent. Mm-hmm. on me as a sir. It's all the same.
Mhm.
And that's the gifts. Opening gifts. As a kid, well, hopefully, as a kid, the joy you got from opening gifts and seeing your first racetrack and all that good stuff. The brand new bike and the dump truck and all that stuff. Those dump trucks that never ever broke. They were made of some sturdy shit.
They were great for throwing at your sister.
Yeah, if you want to give her a concussion.
Why else would you throw something at your sister?
Why else would you? So the difference now between being a kid and being a parent is that I get to buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I consider myself like a really good gift giver.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I just sit back with all this anticipation. Is he or she gonna like this as much as I think they will? So yeah. So it's just watching people that I love open gifts that I buy.
Mm-hmm. I love that too. That is absolutely my favorite part is the process of finding a gift for somebody that I think is perfect for them, or I know they'll love because it speaks to something they're passionate about or interested in, or honor some memory that they love. I love to give a gift that not only can they use, but has some kind of significance to it. And so I love buying them, and I really love wrapping them. I love a beautifully wrapped gift.
Yes, you do.
That is absolutely one of the ways that if you didn't know me and you walked in my house, you'd be like, oh, somebody gay lives here, because all of the decorations and the presents and everything, the more ornate, the better. So
and for those viewing, and then he buys expensive wrapping paper. He doesn't buy that wrapping paper that can come apart with a drop of water. He buys expensive paper with bows and ribbons and all this shit. And then you get to me, I rip everything open like I'm the Incredible Hulk.
And that's actually what I want people to do. Like, I'm not asking anybody. I wrap it with care, but I want you to be excited about it and to rip into it. And one thing that people always say is it's too pretty to open. It's like, you better open that gift. I better wrap the empty box if you just wanted a pretty box.
It ain't ever been too pretty for me yet.
They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you be holding it and ripping it and opening it and everything else. But the good stuff is inside.
Right.
So
always.
I have given like little gifts for like little work things, and it's like I think I spent more on wrapping this gift than I did on the actual gift. But I love that so much. Important question. Because for those of you who don't know, Khal is very gifted in the kitchen. People would think like if you were gonna name a place where Khal is gifted around his house, you think it'd be, based on his reputation, a bedroom or a back alley. But in all honesty, it is the kitchen where his talent shine. What is your favorite holiday dish, be it food, dessert, or drink, holiday beverage?
Favorite dessert is apple pie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bar none. A good apple pie, you got me. I'm done. And all I need is a fork and some vanilla ice cream, and you can keep the rest. I'm good. But favorite, I don't know that I have a favorite meal. I'm not crazy about turkey. And when I cook, I cook what I want and cook what I like. I don't cook traditional Christmas outside of the sides. But like my main has been anything from fish. What's that? Lamb. Yeah, I'll do a rack of lamb and stuff like that. But I also love a good ham.
And that's my favorite.
I love a good ham.
That's my favorite. I love a ham at Christmas. Yeah.
Which is ironic because you're a ham 365.
Yeah.
And sometimes glazed.
Hmm. Alexa, order coal from the store. So, okay, and as we come to the end of the year, for a lot of people, this is a time of reflection, looking back, in addition to looking forward, looking ahead. But looking back at 2025, what was your favorite leather moment?
Purchasing leather for my boy.
Mm,
And
yeah.
seeing the joy on his face when he put it on.
Yeah, when I saw the first picture, he was beaming, like you could just see how much he enjoyed it. That's really appropriate. I actually wish that you had gone last, because that really jumps right into our topic today. But we'll come.
I'm a real boy, that was.
Oh, so in our shady history, I don't know if you remember. Somebody asked me. They reached out to me to petition me to be their sir, and they were saying they wanted to be my boy, and I didn't see them as a boy. Like I had a lot of questions about, like, when did you start identifying as a boy? But you may remember I started calling him Pinocchio because he was not yet a real boy. And you just did the Pinocchio voice. That's hilarious. My favorite leather moment in 2025 was I took a fire play class that was given by Havoc here in Newark. Shout out to Izuli, our Honest Pearl sibling. She and her house put together an amazing series of events. And they did a fire play class that was taught by Sir Raven, who is also a New York Onyx Pearl. And fire play was the kink that I wanted to learn in 2025. And those of you who know, I've been battling some health issues, so I haven't been able to be as active with in-person events and classes. So being able to drive 10 minutes to this class and to take that fire play class was just amazing. But when I first held the wand in my hand and ran it across the palm of my hand and felt that warmth, it was like something inside me was reawakened. Like, and it was like my passion for kink and leather and everything just came flooding back. And it had been waning a little bit because I haven't really been able to be as active as I had been traditionally. And so that reawakening, also I got to experience it with Zen. And that was also something that was very exciting, because that was the first class we had taken together. And it was really fun to see him experience it as well. So you mentioned that your favorite moment of the year, leather moment of the year, was when you bought leather for your boy. And shout out to my nephew Io. And we talked about how excited he was to receive it. And I think to frame the conversation that we're going to have about different types of leather, different ways you can get leather, and kind of what's exciting about each of these ways, it's important to highlight the different ways that leather affects us. Because, for many people who are in the community, they might be part of the leather community as a whole, but everybody doesn't necessarily have an affinity for leather itself. Everybody doesn't love to wear it. For some people, it's too hot, it's too tight, it's too expensive,
it's cumbersome.
It's cumbersome. many people prefer to be more free. I mean, if you're a naturalist, then you may not be as into the leather. If you are someone who prefers rubber or mesh or lace, it just may not be you. But for a number of people, the draw to wearing leather is how the leather makes them feel once they put it on. I think there is, it's almost undeniable the effect that the transformation that happens when you put on leather gear and get ready to go out. And you can almost see it in people's posture, in their energy, how their presence shifts when they put leather on. When you put leather on, how does it make you feel?
Distinguished. Proper. In some ways, sophisticated.
Yeah. For me, it's
powerful.
Yeah, powerful for me. I feel like it's me in my truest and most powerful form.
So kind of like superhero-ish, huh?
Yeah, I feel like I walked into a phone booth, changed, and stepped out as the real me with all my power, and I don't have to hide it, behind a cotton shirt all day. I can really just shine and be who I am. And, I'm always SteeleToe. I tell people all the time, there is no differentiation between steel and SteeleToe. You're getting the same person, good or bad. You can decide whether or not having SteeleToe is a thing. But when I'm in leather, I feel like I can really be my full self, and it literally makes me feel in some ways feral. Like it ramps up my sadism or my masochism, depending on what's going on, because I do enjoy a little pain from time to time, and I just feel reawakened, and it's wonderful.
So now, in thinking here, I believe a lot of those words that we use to describe how we feel is due in part to how the leather fits us. Because I don't think that you see powerful, sophisticated, and things of that nature from people in ill-fitted leather.
Well, I know for me, when I see someone in a beautiful fit, I know that it does make me feel a certain way. There is a level of attraction that I feel, and not necessarily a sexual attraction all the time. Sometimes it's really just a connection, or like
admiration.
I'm being drawn to this person. Like,
yeah, sometimes it's just basic admiration.
Yeah, and I don't get that as much when leather is either ill-fitting or neglected. And I think that's part of just the boot black in me. Makes it hard to not evaluate, not judge, but not evaluate the leather that people are wearing, because I'm constantly sizing it up to diagnose it. And I always want to work on it if it needs if it needs something. So, but I don't know. I don't know that people who are wearing leather that doesn't necessarily fit properly, I don't know that they necessarily feel, I mean, I'm sure they could feel as powerful as I feel. I mean, I've had lots of conversations with people who really didn't understand how leather was supposed to fit. I remember one of my earliest times working a stand, someone came up and I was doing their boots, and they had on a vest that was way too large for them. I mean, it almost touched in the front. And I had the opportunity to explain to them how a vest is supposed to fit and everything. And but they were very excited to have that to be wearing. Um, so yeah, I think that is kind of in the it's just based on each person's individual thought process when they're wearing leather, I guess. How do you feel when you see other people in leather? Like, how does that make you feel?
Uh, Admiration, or uh, a lot of times, especially uh, when it's like formal gear, and there's the Sam Brown, and everything is just so, you know, form fitting with the boots and everything. It's like, okay, that's hot.
Mhm.
So yeah, so there, I would say there's admiration. There may be some attraction, and not necessarily, oh, I want to sleep with you. But it's just all right. You're hot. Uh, a lot of times, I mean, I wonder where they got that from. I wonder who made that for them. Uh,
That's often my thought. Who
yeah.
made that? Sometimes if I see somebody like with a leather shirt, I'll look at the shirt and I'll think, if I had that shirt, I would customize it like this for me, or something like that. Or I'll just be inspired by something somebody's wearing. Like, I love the pockets on the front of that shirt. The next leather shirt I buy will have that type of pocket or something. So it's always inspirational a little bit. Um, One other important aspect of wearing leather is the ability to communicate wordlessly with other people, you know, with the leather that you are wearing at the time. And this is something that's kind of going away a little bit because so many more people are wearing leather people as more for the fashion of it than the communication factor. I mean, we know the hanky code also flows to your leather. So the fact that I have teal on, um, and I'm wearing teal on my right wrist means that I want to be a sub in a CBT scene. That's what I'm communicating. Um, and a lot of people now don't communicate with their leather. And so you'll see people, who like the color red wearing red, and half the room is looking at them and saying, oh, they're into fisting. And the other half are oblivious to what it means. But being able to communicate to other people wordlessly through what you're wearing, and to really be able to introduce yourself. I always feel like when I'm getting dressed, and I flag many things. So I mean, I should probably just flag orange. I just don't really love the color orange, because I have so many kinks. So it's like, oh, okay, just talk to me and figure out what I'm about that way. But when I'm getting dressed, sometimes I choose the color that I'm going to accentuate just based on what conversations I want to have with people in the room. Because I know even from across the room, I'm telling um, the other people who are there, I'm introducing myself just by showing up in what I have on. And I love that.
Okay. So in leather formals, definitely,
Mhm.
definitely, it's so much more than aesthetics.
Mhm.
Uh, but in non uh, formals, like the leather overalls I recently invested in, that's purely aesthetics. But it's also I get to wear leather and be a little out the box and be a little different and show a little bit of who I am as a guy. I like this. But informals, it's just it's a look, it's a feel that's just unbeatable.
Mhm. And you still like even with those leather overalls. I mean, the color tells a story,
Yes.
and everything else. Like there's still information being passed out, even in a more casual leather look. You can still do that communication and and look at it look at it that way. So let's start talking. Let's jump into the conversation about what different ways that you can earn, that you can procure your leather, because there are lots of different ways to get leather. And the first way, I mean, I guess the most obvious way is you could just buy leather. I mean, there are shops all over the place, vendors who do amazing jobs making leather. You can go to Amazon or eBay or Etsy, um, and you can buy leather for yourself. So it's not hard to get leather if you want to go out and buy it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with buying leather for yourself. If you want to go and buy leather, you can feel free. When I think back to our pledge process, I already own leather. And I'll never forget in our first meeting when we were told that we did not have permission as pledges to wear leather in public until we were told that we were able, because we had to earn the right to wear that leather. And I hated that, frankly. I understand it and I appreciate it, but I hated it. I felt naked. And when I was going to places, and the only leather I had on were my boots, because that was all I was allowed to wear, because I had everything else. And I'll never forget when we were told that we could start adding leather into the wardrobe, how pleased I felt that I had gotten to the point of um, earning the right to wear that leather out again. And so there's something about earning it in some way, either by demonstration of some form of ability or dedication to study or some process where someone you trust and respect is going to look at you and say, you have now demonstrated that you deserve this.
So back to the pledge process, I appreciated the whole you haven't earned the right to wear leather. I was good with that, and I was ready to show that I've earned the right.
Mhm.
Uh, I remember how angry you was when we thought we could wear leather and then was told we couldn't. Oh, that was priceless.
Yeah, that was a bad day. And
Ah,
the only time that I was outwardly defiant during the process.
ooh,
But there were lots of circumstances around that made that especially frustrating.
yes.
And thankfully, that decision only lasted for 45 minutes, and then it was like, no, I'm gonna wear leather. But yeah, I mean that was really rough and really hard. I will also say that when I was covered and presented with my cover, that the members of my house came together, ordered, purchased, and presented for me. That was just so meaningful for me. It was, and my cover is still one of the most important pieces of leather in my collection.
It should be.
And I will always treasure it, not just because, it signifies that I've been covered, or that process, but because the members of my house took the time to make sure I had it and that it was customized specifically for me.
And the community said that you earned it.
And true. But I mean, I think that when we get to the point where, and I think that's a value, that's one of the traditions I love about leather. It is the community affirmation for people who have really spent time working in the community, demonstrating. A lot of times in life, people don't give you the flowers you deserve. People don't take the time to recognize the people who are really hard workers. And even in leather, I think, we spend a lot of time covering DOMs. I absolutely feel like there are subs. There should be some recognition for subs who also spend a lot of time working in the community. There are much of the leadership in our community comes from submissives, and I don't think that they're recognized enough for what they do. I don't think they're always seen as educators, in spite of the vast amount of knowledge they have. They're not always seen as leaders because their honorifics are submissive based. But I absolutely think that, having a focus on earning it, even if it's just something that one person did to recognize it. I know when I was a big brother in Onyx, every little brother I've ever had has at their crossing received a bar vest from me. And it's like, I want them to have it so that when they put the patch on their back, they're always reminded that their siblings have their back. But I also want them to know that I'm with you on this journey. Every time you put this vest on, you're carrying me with you. And I'm recognizing your value, your worth, what you're bringing to the table. And you're not alone. And I like to do that with a bar vest, because the bar vest is the best. You're going to accumulate pins and memories. You're going to wear it, carry it with you throughout the course of your leather journey. And so I really think that even if it's just recognition from one person, it's absolutely wonderful to have an opportunity to be recognized for what you're bringing. And that's why I think earning leather is such an amazing thing, because not only do you get something beautiful that will make you feel how you want to feel when you step out, that communicates who you are to other people, but it also brings with it the recognition of who you are as a person.
So when someone, we often use the phrase pouring into you.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, pouring into a person is buying them leather, because you're supporting them and you're saying, I believe in you, and this is for your journey.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall, as Pledge Master from 2020, I wanted every big brother to gift their little brother with a vest.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to create like a legacy per se of Now these little brothers, when they become big brothers, now they will bequeath leather.
Right.
And you just keep a tradition going and going of gifting leather because it builds bonds.
Yeah.
And what better way to bring an organization together than start building bonds from the very first steps of your journey?
Yeah.
It wasn't seen that way by everybody. And, for whatever reason, we're not going to get into, but that's what I've always wanted because I think it's special because this vest here was gifted to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to talk about the person who gifted it to me every time someone says nice vest. And I'm going to touch on legacy for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, this hair is also from this person. So, hey, what's that pin? Well, this is from the person who gifted me leather, and he's no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to talk about him anytime someone mentions the pin or the vest. And this is how the people in our communities that we've lost, this is how they live on.
Yep.
And because we're all going to go one day, but it's our deeds and the things we've done for people that makes us live on after we go. So I have the honor of saying, hey, I was gifted this by so-and-so, and I'll just say it was Legionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to now talk about Legionnaire every time someone points to the pin, every time someone talks about how the vest fits me, where I got it from. I get to talk about him, and he gets to live on. And I don't think there could be anything more special than that.
And it's a reflection of his investment in you. And it's an outward show of his investment in you as well. So, certainly you gained a lot more from Legionnaire than that vest and that pin. I mean, the conversations, the knowledge, the instruction, all the things, the exposure, introducing you to people, making you feel like a real part of a community and of his family and circle. Like all of that is the thing that really, really matters. And that's reflected every time you put that vest on. And even though he's no longer with us, he'll always be a part of you and he'll always be with you. And you'll be able to keep that going. And one day, if you decide that you are going to gift that vest to someone else, now they are not only getting you as part of their journey, now Legionnaire's legacy is also a part of that journey because you're handing down leather that he bestowed upon you. So that was a gift of leather. And you've taken it, expanded it, grown in it, lived a leather life in it, had a bunch of experiences in it that will get us banned from YouTube. So don't go into too much detail. But and now you're able to hand that to someone else for them to live in and to continue the traditions. And that's just one of the most amazing things. And one of the other things I love about leather. That's why tradition is one of the tenets of our house. And one of the Adinkra symbols on our vest is Sankofa, which represents tradition, because that tradition of I am going to invest in you and I am going to give you a part of me to take with you throughout your journey so that you know you're never alone is amazing to me. I don't even know how else to describe it besides amazing.
Yeah, you mentioned your cover and receiving your cover from the community. To me, it's one of the most powerful things that we can go through in our journey. And to just, like, you can wear whatever leather outfit you want, but for me to put on a cover and quote, it's not a cover and tell it's blah 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 blah, but just to wear meerkat and because you think it's cute, it's a bit for me, it's a bit disingenuous. It's like, ugh. But as you say, we can buy our own leather and we can buy whatever we want and wear whatever we want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And but the reason why covers are different than mirror caps is because of the investment, the recognition, the community coming together. Like it's all of those factors that make that cover very special, and that communicates to other people when they see it. Here is somebody in our community who's been identified as trustworthy, identified as someone with integrity, someone with knowledge, someone who's been dedicated. And when we talk about safe spaces, one of the things that makes spaces safe is people walking in and knowing there are people in here who are going to make sure that this space remains a safe place, and that there are people in here who are working to make sure that this community continues to grow and change for the better and adapt and all of those things. So I do think that is important, even though I don't want to get off on a tangent on coverings. But I do think it's one of the beautiful traditions in our culture. But I will get back to legacy, because that is something that has always been important. And I've always been really touched when I would go to a leather event and they would auction off leather pieces from someone who was a member of the community who passed away, and now they're going to raise money for charity in their name, while giving people an opportunity to get a piece of them to take forward and continue in their journey. These gloves that I have on belong to my late boy Forge. And when I first met Forge, he owned the gloves because, he was new. He didn't really recognize the significance of leather gloves in the community. And it's kind of a old school thinking that only Doms wear leather gloves. So he had the pair, and they later gifted them to me and said, as a boy, I don't feel like I should be wearing these. As my sir, I would love for you to have them. And they are now my favorite gloves to wear. I have a number of pairs of leather gloves, partially because I'm absent-minded and I put them down. And if there's not a boy there to pick them up, I'll leave them somewhere. But this pair I never really let out of my sight. And I honestly feel when Forge passed, and because you were with me when we went to Connecticut to pick up his kink and leather items. When we went to pick up his kink and leather items, and then I brought them back, and I was going through that, and I was gifting pieces to different members of the house, and donating things to charity events for them to auction off to raise money for charity in his name, because he was really big on that. I felt like here's my opportunity to keep his legacy, his passions and interests and everything alive, and also his kinks alive, and bestowing his items on people who he cared about and loved and supported while he was alive. Made me feel like I had another opportunity to honor him, and it was one last thing that I could do for him. And it is really one of the most, it was absolutely the most emotional time for me, when I was just sitting in the house, listening to a playlist of songs that we both loved. We both loved opera and the Great American Songbook, Broadway standards and jazz standards, and also 70s, 80s R&B. And so listening to that while going through the things, deciding who should carry on this part of Forge, that meant a lot. And I think that is something that leather affords us and allows us to do. And I'm in the process now of putting together a will for myself. And the part of it that's the hardest is making decisions about my leather and kink equipment and toys and who I want to have a piece of it. And that's a big part, and it's important because there are people who I would love to carry on my legacy moving forward.
I'll take Big Bertha. And I would take excellent care of her.
Well, just know there are a few items that would be going to you, and Big Bertha is one. Blood Rider, the black and teal flogger, the thin one that feels so soft but is actually evil, is another. And I'm also handing you my SteeleToe paddle that Bobby made, and a couple other things that I'm not going to tell you because if you get too excited, I'm going to have to worry when I eat your catfish next time.
You just got sleepy, baby. That's all. You just got sleepy.
Lay down. Take a nap.
But speaking of legacy, that's one thing that we both carry with us. You have the orange heart, and I have the pin.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep Forge with you at all times, and I keep Legionnaire with me at all times.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful, and it's such an honor to do that, to bring the people before you and who left us way too soon, and you always have them with you. Like I was saying, I really could think of no other honor than to begin a tradition of gifting leather. And it's what I think we should be doing. I think we should gift leather. Because I think it's special.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as you hand me something, it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. Thank you.
I absolutely encourage those who can. Because we all know leather can be cost prohibitive. Leather is leather is not cheap. I tell people all the time who are coming in. I know when I used to talk to people who were interested in pledging Onyx, they would say Onyx is expensive. And I say, no. Onyx isn't expensive at all. Leather is expensive. And when I say that, I don't only mean clothes and gear and equipment and things like that. I mean events and the whole thing. Like the more deeply you're immersed, the more cost can pop up. And you certainly
these are expensive.
When I tell you this, I'm so glad that this girl with no name that I'm smoking came with a sale price. You wouldn't believe it, but that's one reason why, especially with younger people or people who are new to the community, I enjoy gifting some leather piece, some piece of kink equipment. You're interested in learning the flog. I'd love to be able to buy somebody. Here is a first flogger for you to practice with. And then if you decide that's something you're going to continue to work on, then you can invest in a flogger that, is going to allow you to flog the way you want to flog. Some people like lighter floggers. You love the big behemoths that only you and Thor can pick up. And, you know, but
You
being
have
able
to be worthy.
but being able to do that is such a wonderful I'm messing up. Being able to do that is such a wonderful time and experience. I just love that so much. And I have had the opportunity to be able to do that for a number of people in the house and out, who are just like, I see you, I recognize your passion, and I want to support you by investing in you. And leather really is an investment. Even though it can be pricey, depending on what you're buying. If you spend $700 on a pair of Westcoats and you take care of those boots, you can keep those boots for 15 years. And if you think about it, if you break down the cost and divide it by the number of years that you'll have it, you find it's really not that expensive by comparison. You know, when you buy a pair of Nikes, you're not expecting to have them for 15 years.
No.
Though, you know, unless you collect Jordans and you're gonna put them in a special place or whatever. But with leather, you can do that. And I can attest, as a boot black, if you take care of your leather and treat it well, as long as you don't grow out of it, you can continue to wear it year after year after year, and it'll look just as good. I can't figure out many times
somebody else can wear
it. Or hold it until you get smaller. And if that doesn't happen after a while, then you can gift it. And I mean, I just think that's so much of the beauty of it. Because it is an investment. And when you're buying leather, I encourage you to think about the pieces that you're buying as in not just, oh, this is cute, but this piece is going to represent me. This piece is going to make me feel how I want to feel when I'm playing or at a munch or just standing at a bar or traveling to a bar. One of the most impactful time I had in leather, Forge and I went to see the first performance of an opera at the Met. And whenever they have the first performances, it's always a gala opening. And so it's like a formal. And Forge and I went in leather formals to the Met. And so many people were talking to us about what we were wearing. I was so surprised at the number of people who walked up who knew what everything we had on meant. And once we were going in and Forge had his collar, he had a sweater with his collar. And the guy taking the ticket said to Forge, "It's a lucky man who holds a key to that collar." And Forge, I was walking in behind him and Forge said, "Oh, it's him. That's my sir." And the guy giggled at first. And then he said, "Oh, wait, you're serious?" And he was like, "Yes, that's my sir." And he was like, "Sir, welcome to the Met. It's nice to have you here." And I was like, "Thank you." And it's like amazing to me. Like you have these conversations and that goes so much into normalizing kink for people. It's like all of these people understood, like this is, I understand what that means. People felt it was beautiful to see it there. That was a majority of the comments that we received. I even had an opportunity to have a conversation with one of the ushers about the symbols on the patch because she recognized Sankofa, which is tradition. And she was like, "I know what that means. Do you know what it means?" And I was like, "Yes, it means tradition. It's the symbol is Sankofa and whatever." And she then lifted up her sleeve and she had the tattoo of Sankofa on the inside of her wrist. And I said, "Oh," and she said, "What do these mean?" And we were able to talk about it. And she said, "Where can I buy that on a t-shirt?" And I said, "I'm sorry, you have to be a member of the house to wear the patch." But it just really opens the door to so much conversation, really explaining to people who you are to help normalize kink and break out of the stigmas that surround kink and fetishes and BDSM, and to just pour into the lives of other people in the community. Like we really have, leather really gives us the ability to change and transform lives.
Isn't it amazing how things that are leather adjacent causes so much conversation?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you. And you know, when you enter those conversations with people and you have it, the house patch has allowed me to have so many conversations with so many people who just really felt like kink is about hurting each other or doing dangerous things. And then when I'm talking about the patch, and it's leadership and service, and it's tradition, and it's safe spaces, and it's community, and it's family, like they're not expecting it all the time. And then when they hear it, they're like, wow, I never even would have thought all of these things are a part of it. And it's wonderful to be able to share that with people in a very real and direct way. So I love leather for that and many other reasons. Before we end, do you have anything else you want to share on this topic?
I want to ask you, outside of the gloves, who has gifted you your most treasured piece of leather?
Well, I mean, that's the cover. And the cover means absolutely the world to me. I will say, when I crossed Onyx, my big brother at the time didn't have the money to buy me a vest. But he made me 2 paddles. One, the SteeleToe paddle with my logo and my name on one side, and on the back side, my titles. And that was really special. He also made me an Onyx paddle, a paddle that has a big O on it and then says Onyx underneath, and it's beautiful. And those meant a lot to me because I was heavily into paddling and loved to paddle. But also, it's like he took the time to make this, and he made it with beautiful craftsmanship. So it's like every time I would pick it up or look at it, I used to take the SteeleToe paddle with me when I was blacking.
Hang on. What the fuck?
And I would just sit it on the boot black stand if I had to walk away, so people knew it was me blacking. And that was always something that was very special. So I absolutely love that. At this point, also, there's a pair of vampire gloves that I have that Forge gifted me for Christmas one year. And they conduct electricity if you're doing electro. So they're covered in very sharp spikes all over, and the fingertips have the claws that but the spikes and the claws both conduct electricity if you're electrified or the person you're playing with is. And I absolutely love, I love the sharps and everything. So I love to be able to use them with or without electricity. But if I can use them with electricity, it's even better. So those would be my answers. So are you selling cakes or something going on, or somebody put your number in the bathroom somewhere? Because your doorbell is
apparently it's Amazon.
Oh, well, that could be my gift. So feel free to get up if you need to go and get it, since you profess to be a wonderful gift giver.
Have I ever failed?
Not yet. And I want you to continue your streak of flawless victories this year.
So, I was like I said, I was gifted the vest, but I was also, in preparation for a contest, I was also gifted boots. And I thought that was just so special. It's my door again. This won't take long. Oh.
Okay, so as you can see, Khal has a shopping addiction, but it is Christmas. So we'll say this is a demonstration of his generosity and how wonderful he is. And yep, there's another package. But to wrap up, I'd just like to thank you all for joining us all year long, and for continuing to tune in and watch and share comments. Reaching out after broadcast has been great. just as a reminder, this broadcast will be on the House of Steel page for 30 days, but you can watch this broadcast or any of our other broadcasts on our YouTube page, which is the House of Steel Facebook page. YouTube page. And there you can continue to learn and grow with us. This is our last broadcast of 2025, but we look forward to seeing you in 2026. In early January, we'll be dropping the calendar of all of our broadcasts from February to June. And we look forward to tuning in and being with you online and in person next year. But most importantly, from my house to yours, I wish you a wonderfully happy holiday and an amazing new year.
Ditto. I can't top all that. So I'll just say ditto. Yeah, you guys just have a great year. Be safe out there. Although it is the Christmas season and it's all this, holly jolly stuff, there's a lot of people that are struggling right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask that you be mindful of what you say to people, because we're all going through something, whether you know it or not. We're all dealing with something. So be mindful and be kind.
I love that, especially now. We live in a world where, in many ways, the government is attacking us, trying to strip away our identities, trying to take away our rights and abilities, sending the military after us, sending ICE after people. We know our trans siblings continue to be targeted by acts of violence and hate. So this is absolutely a time to really be kind to each other. And, I didn't bring it up when we were talking about traditions, but as you know, I used to, if I found out that someone didn't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving or Christmas, living in the New York City area, so many people relocate to this area, often to be able to live freely and get away from the oppressive nature of their relationships where they were. And, because of that, they didn't necessarily have a place to go and have those meals. Khal, I used to invite people every year, like, come to the house if you don't have anywhere to go for dinner and join us, fellowship with us. And that's something that now my health doesn't allow me to do, the big meals and all of that. But if you have an opportunity to extend kindness to somebody, and that could be as simple as come over and hang out, spend some time, let's watch a movie together or something like that, just to we should be reminding each other that, especially at this time where it's so much of it is about family and friends, that we're not alone.
Right. And the only time we should see ICE.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Other than that, screw them. Yeah. But yeah, we do need to look out for each other. So if any of you gals out there do not have a place to go for Christmas, hit us up. Let's see what we can do.
Yep. And with that, we will say, enjoy your holiday celebrations, however they take place. And we look forward to seeing you next year.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.